RCM, CM, Titas, Sepka CM, Heels, Nunawite Squale. Great Creator, we thank you for coming together. We thank the wisdom of the elders and our teachers. We give gratitude for those who have gone before us and learned the ways. We give gratitude for the wisdom that we can share with each other. We say, Hajka CM. Oh, he, oh, he, oh, hey. Yo, he, oh, he, oh, hey. Yo, he, oh, yo.
On Wise Folks today, we're going to talk about money. You know it, cold hard cash, finding ways to save, wondering if we have enough through our retirement, and wondering if we plan well enough for our future. So on today's episode, Nahanni Ackryod is going to share her wisdom with us from Freedom 55, and we're going to learn some important lessons about scams and frauds by Constable Gary O'Brien. Vancouver Island, we're so glad that you're here.
Thanks for joining us here today. My name is Isabella Ostman, and today we have the pleasure of talking about a subject that sometimes makes people a little bit stressed. My parents live in a seniors residence here on Vancouver Island, and one of the topics that often comes up at the dining room table is how people are stressing about money. We are talking about finances for older adults today, and with me today, my guest is Nahanni Ackryod. She is a certified financial planner from Freedom 55 Financial. Welcome, Nahanni. Nice to have you here.
Thank you, Isabella.
What are some of the issues that older adults have to deal with when it comes to their finances?
Yeah, definitely. Will I have enough is the big question. People worry about it going into retirement. They worry about it through retirement potentially if they haven't set up for that. Will I have enough money for long-term care? If I end up in a care facility, will I have enough money for that as well? Those are the two top ones. Sometimes people worry about leaving money to their children, or if they have dependent children, so an adult child with a disability, taking care of them as well can be very worrying. Staying in their home. It's different for everybody, but those are the big common ones.
So we like to think that when we retire, we can sit back and enjoy our lives, but our financial worries don't end at retirement, do they?
Doesn't seem to, no. If somebody is really organized and has done the planning and done the work and saved if they needed to, or had a great pension plan, maybe they don't need to worry so much in retirement. But those pension plans that people had from their employers are definitely going away. So that defined benefit where you know you're going to be okay through retirement, those have mostly gone away now. They mostly were for men, had them because they had those kind of jobs. And that's changed now, but the benefits have gone away. And then also over 80, like most people are over 80 who have those really great pensions. So they're male and over 80. So there's a whole lot of us who aren't male and over 80, and we need to take care of ourselves when we're going into retirement. Is
inflation a worry these days?
Yeah, it's mostly predictable. Canada's very good at managing that, trying to keep it within a 2%, at about 2%, but we're in a different era right now with the tariffs. Cauliflower is my example I often use, right? So if you really love cauliflower, when cauliflower went to $9 a head, that's way more than 2%. So you have to decide, is that cauliflower really important to you? Or, I can go without cauliflower if it really goes high.
Goes that high.
Yeah.
Now, when I started working about 35 years ago or so, we all had defined pension plans, but I think that that as we are now starting to retire, we were probably the last generation to have a defined pension plan.
Yeah, it's definitely the employers are moving some of that responsibility back to the employees now. So employers will often offer like a matching RSP kind of program up to a certain limit, which might be only 3%. And then the employee has to manage that. They have to choose what investments they're going to be in, what's their risk tolerance, what's their time frame, and then be disciplined in saving and in managing that long term. And so there's been a shift that way. The employers don't want to take on that responsibility.
And then we have things like 2001 and 2009 happening as well.
Yep, and that's where working with a professional can help you to manage you through those. Often working with a professional is about managing behavior, right? Lots of people talk about, I moved into cash during 2008, 2009, but they missed the lift then when the markets did go up, right? Or you realize the loss if you take your money out at that time. So helping manage behavior and expectations through those times, they happen. But most of the time the market's on an upswing, so looking at that and trying to manage for that is really important.
So sounds like you can really help everyone out dealing with their retirement. Now, when would be the ideal time to come and see you?
Right, 20 years ago is always
course, yeah.
And then the next best time is right now. If somebody's got questions about their retirement and they're not quite sure how it's looking, often people don't understand their government benefits. So what could they expect from Canada Pension Plan? What can they expect from old age security? We were often taught to save, right? RSP, you must put money in RSPs and you must save. But people often don't know what that actually looks like as an income stream later. And so that's where I can put those pieces together for someone, plus their expectations, and look at, okay, here's what it's kind of looking like. And then they may have to make some hard decisions about what's most important to them or what is not important to them in terms of where are their priorities, what do they really need to spend money on, or can they cut back some places if they need to. Maybe they don't need to.
My father is going to be 90 next year.
Aww.
And his RIF is finished at 90. And he tells the story that when he bought that RIF, which was probably at 71, I guess, was when you had to turn your money in. His financial planner insisted that they go to 95 to 90, and Dad said, "Well, there's no way I'm going to live that long. I don't need it to 90." But the financial planner insisted, so he has it to 90, and he's still alive and doing quite well. Thank you. So, how do you plan for lifespan?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's very tricky. Because it is different for everyone. I've met people who said, well, I'm not going to be alive 6 years from now. So that's a different kind of planning. Talk to someone, how old are your parents? Where are they at? Do you expect to live to a certain age? And there are standards set out for us through the Financial Planning Standards Council as well that gives you, if someone is alive at this age, then here's the plus or minus odds of them living to be this age. And quite often it's into our mid and late 90s. So if somebody has any longevity in their family, like 90 is kind of the standard, but often it's like, add to 95. My aunt, I was doing a plan for her, and I know her aunt lived to be 103. So we need to plan for that, not just, she's a very healthy mid-70s person, so we need to plan for a really long time for her to make sure she can maintain her lifestyle as long as she possibly can.
Thank you, Nahanni. That was great information. We will come back to you a little bit later. Now we're going to go and check in with Dan and Dan, and I think that they have some ways to show us how to pinch those pennies. But I guess today it's pinching nickels, isn't it? So on to Dan and Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, how you doing, Danielle?
I'm good.
I'm fishing.
For what?
Well, I'm a little short and I needed some money, and I was hoping to fish out of the pond here to get some money.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So...
Well, it's always a good bet to try and get... and even the gold showed up.
I guess you're not very good at budgeting your money.
Well,
you do know there's
you
some...
could say that.
There's some great ideas on how to save money as opposed to...
I'm trying.
Fishing in a local pond.
Yeah. Well, I got a quarter at least.
You need
I don't
more
know
good
what's
luck.
with this pond.
You need more good luck.
Somebody's been
3-leaf clovers,
harvesting the
4-leaf
money.
clovers. Let's go inside and I will show you amazing ways to save. Now take that silly pole out. Let's go.
Okay. Woo, woo. Good.
What the? Dan.
Whoa.
Dan.
Whoa.
What are you
yes.
doing? What are you doing? You're
I
sleeping.
just had a
You're
little
sleeping
nap.
with the TV on.
Just relaxing a little bit. I know.
That's electricity wastage.
What?
You're supposed to meet me in the kitchen so we can discuss savings. What are you doing?
I know, but it's so hot.
You're sleeping in front of the exercise video? Well, that's really doing you good.
I guess it came on.
You
just having a
march
relax.
yourself in that room over there so we can get going on how to save. Because you got a quarter for lunch and that's not going to get you very far.
That's true.
Please, can we go so we can discuss how to save?
All right.
Thank you. Let's go.
I was enjoying my nap that you so rudely interrupted me on.
Well, yeah, your exercise nap, right? Yeah, we have exercise and you're napping for
I mean,
the
my
exercise.
eyes were
What
exercising.
a waste of electricity. Yeah, the TV was on,
Well,
the
true,
lights were
true.
on. You know how much money you could save on hydro?
I get it. That's
Now,
true.
Dan, come on
But
now.
when you fall asleep, you know, that's what happens.
Okay, you know how you were fishing for fish and you have nothing?
I know.
No offense. I mean, you're a good fisher person.
Apparently
man.
people do eat goldfish, but that wasn't on my plate today.
Well, you know what? It's an easier way. Look, fish, 49 cents. Look at this one here. Look at this one here. We should go shopping.
Pink salmon, well, that's wild. You know what? If it's fresh and done right.
Yeah, 49
It's
cents.
amazing.
I know, it is
Yeah.
a great idea. You know what? There's beef ribs in here too. So, you know what I'm finding out is that if you kind of go shopping with a list, don't go shopping hungry, your money is actually going to go a very long way.
And if you write down your list or keep it by memory, it's a good way to do it too.
Exactly, and not only that, if you make some phenomenal meals at home, you're a great cook. I know you are, and you can save money instead of going out all the time.
Except when it comes to eggs.
Eggs.
A couple episodes ago, you know, they didn't hold on the avocado
Oh yeah, you kept
very
on
good.
dropping your eggs. I had to pick up your eggs.
You're the coupon queen, I heard.
I am. You know what? You just compare. You find this store versus this store versus just an
true, too.
overall sale. Like watermelon is on sale here. A whole watermelon here versus a whole watermelon, let's say, in this one here. See, it's like it's a dollar difference for a watermelon. So $1 here, $1 there gets you pretty much.
Yeah. You know, one hope and wish is that we all have enough money to provide for ourselves for food and shelter and clothing. And I'm hoping and praying that that happens for everybody that's watching, that you have enough.
Amen to that.
So I'm going to show you something. Like, look.
Ooh, money?
So there's nothing there.
Money, nothing there.
Nothing there.
Nope.
So I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to hope that I can produce some money.
Oh my God!
There it is.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wagner, and I'm joined today with Constable Gary O'Brien of the Nanaimo RCMP. Constable O'Brien, thanks very much for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
We're talking today about scams and frauds and how they can target in particular the senior members of our community. What can you tell us more about that topic in general?
The frauds and scams we're talking about today, we won't be talking about next year. They'll change. But there's a common theme to all of them. And this is only for you, next 48 hours or 72 hours. But the reality now is some of them are very scary, especially for somebody who's older than the age of 75. If they hear a phone call from somebody who says they're a police officer, they believe them. My parents, they were in their 90s, and if a police officer told them something, they would say, yes, it's correct. Or if they meet someone in person, with a shake of the hand or a look in the eye, they would have believed them. This is what we have to get through. As a police officer, we don't believe anybody. That's how we stay safe. So we stress them, it's okay not to believe it. So take a time out, call a friend, talk to your bank, call a police officer, call them back. And those are clues that they can use because they tug at the heartstrings. Either the Facebook scams now are scary, or the Canadian Revenue Agency scam. It's so bad now that they're saying if you don't pay your fines within an hour, we'll actually blow your house up. So that's very scary.
what are some of the steps that the senior members of our community can take to help avoid falling victim to these sorts of scams? You talked about getting the input from others, friends and family, to help gauge whether or not this is something they need to worry about.
The other component to the seniors are the shut-ins, the people living on your streets, who sometimes only come out once a week, maybe to look out and collect their mail. That's the people we're trying to get through. We work through Parks and Rec, we're working through Block Watch to talk to these people, because those are the ones who are falling for what we call the lotto scam. Those things that come in your mail and you're guaranteed to win $45 million, but there's always a catch. You have to spend $200, you have to pay an administrative fee. There's reality is, we've gone to situations, and this happens across the board, is that we've had people spend $65,000 to $70,000 in 6 months thinking they're going to win the lotto.
Yep.
And then we ask the one question, did you buy a ticket? And they can't remember if they bought a ticket. They didn't even buy a ticket, but they still spent the $70,000. We had a situation where this gentleman, he's now deceased, he died penniless. He spent $60,000 thinking he was going to win the lotto. And I went to his house and I spoke with him. He's a great old guy. And I said, why do you think you're going to win? He said, they sent me prizes. I said, oh, show me the prizes. And the prizes were paper clips and bath towels. So in his mind, it was something that, okay, I'm on there, I'm going to win, I just have to spend a little bit more money. He had 4 checkbooks in his house. And we looked at them, every day he was spending $200 writing checks, every day. So we went with a local chartered bank and we shut down those checking accounts. Unbeknownst to us, he had another one that we didn't know. And we picked up 5 bags of recycling material from these scam lotto companies. Many are based in Australia, United Kingdom, South Asia. He fell for the one in Australia. And I use these when I talk to other people. And I tell this story out of respect for him, because you don't want that to happen. He had a lot of money, but he died penniless.
There always seems to be a financial component to these scams. You mentioned the CRA scam and the potential for financial punishment, but there's also the potential for financial gain in certain scams. Tell us more about those ones.
We talked about using the sniff test. I said, does it sound real? If it sounds too good to be true, it can't be true. And so we take a time out, call a friend, talk to somebody, a neighbor, talk to the people in your care facility, call your bank, call the police. Did you buy a ticket? And they all laugh. And the majority of them haven't bought a ticket. A real lotto, like the 649 or the Lotto Max, is you'll have a ticket and you'll never have to pay a cent. You'll never have to pay taxes on it. That's a legitimate lotto. The ones that are illegal, there's an administrative fee. That's the catch.
It's remarkable. It strikes me just how sophisticated these scams have come. You mentioned how there was a personalized Christmas card sent to that gentleman, and it seems there's always a very official badge or a seal of authenticity in these scams that helps people fall victim to these scams even more easily.
We've got the Canada Revenue Agency is probably the most active scam that's been being perpetuated on Vancouver Island in the last 2 years. And it's gone from receiving an email threatening you, now you receive an email, you're getting a refund. So if you break it down, you're getting a refund, but what they're asking you is to log in, and they're asking for personal information. You have to give them your credit card information. You have to give them their 3-digit code. And in some particular cases where they've fallen so hard, they've actually asked for the SIN number, and people have given that. The SIN is gold.
Yep.
The SIN, you can set up a line of credit, you can set up bank accounts, and it's so scary when I hear that. The other thing is very interesting is when we talk to people, we hear the common things, such as, I'm a smart man, I'm not a dumb woman. He was so nice. He was like my son. I needed the money. I was desperate. It was only one email. And when referring to that, it's one email that they opened up and they put viruses in the computer. The virus controls their computer and takes their banking information.
It's remarkable the scope that this has in our community, island-wide, countrywide, like you yourself said, and it's so important to get the input that you're sharing with us so that people can take safeguards to protect themselves and hopefully avoid these sorts of scams and frauds. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Abigail, and I am going to talk to some very wise people who are older than me with some pretty cool questions. Hi, Miss Jen.
Hi, Abigail.
What was your allowance when you were a kid?
Maybe 50 cents. Probably about a quarter per job.
6 pennies a week.
I'm English, and we always called it pocket money.
Was that a lot, or was that just a little?
Just the right amount.
What did I do with that money? Yeah, probably go down the store and buy a comic. I usually spend it on candy.
Maybe went shopping and bought a chocolate bar or an ice cream cone.
Oh, I like chocolates too.
And I could go to the movie, spend 15 cents, and then I'd have 10 cents left over to buy a big box of Cracker Jacks.
So you would get a few sweets here and there sometimes?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
I'm here with Nahanni from Freedom 55 Financial, and we're continuing to talk about finances and older people. Now, what do you do if you don't have a pension and you don't have any investments to take you through retirement? What are your options?
Yeah, it can be a tough spot to be in, for sure. Sometimes people haven't been able to sell their business, and they were a business owner, and if they can't find someone to sell their business to, they've lost that asset that they might have been able to use to help fund their retirement. There's Canada pension plan, so as long as somebody's paid into that, they'll get something from that. There's old age security, which everyone who's lived in Canada for 40 years between 18 and 65 will get and is entitled to. That's just a product of living in Canada. There is guaranteed income supplement for lower income seniors. And there are things like SAFER, the rental program, and that add a little bit, but not a whole lot. So if someone doesn't own their home, it can be quite tricky.
But if you have a home, then
if
what?
you own your home, then there can be some options to use the equity in the home to help fund someone's retirement. Owning a home and using the equity can be a very emotional decision. We get very attached to our houses. People say it's an investment, but if it's a proper investment, you probably shouldn't be emotionally invested in it, but people are. But if someone can see their way to using that, because especially on the coast here, our values have gone up so much, and often that is people's only asset, but it can be an asset worth $700,000, $1 million. And if someone is willing to use that to help fund their retirement, it can change everything for them.
But what if I'd like to stay in my home? I don't want to move. I don't want to sell my home.
Yeah, you can still stay in your home. There are products that allow you to stay in your home, but use the equity in your home. It means you're not going to leave as much to your family out of, say, $1 million home. But if you're leaving $700,000 to them out of $1 million home, or $200,000, mostly our children. I know for me, I want my parents to enjoy their lives and enjoy their money. And if there's something left, that's great, but I'd rather they're using it for their benefit. And most children, I think, have that attitude. Not everyone, but you don't want to assume everybody's the same, right? But most people want to see their parents taken care of. And so use your asset rather than somebody being broke and maybe living on not very good food and, affecting their health because they're making choices that are for their children later, when their children are probably fine. If you're living to be 95, your grown children are going to be in their 60s. Do they need the money? Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but you probably need it for you.
Now, we hear a lot about this coming up, this wealth transfer, the baby boomers transferring all this wealth to their children. Now, how do you deal with families who want to leave money to their children and yet need the money to live on?
Yeah, there's definitely, this is a life insurance is a great idea at that point, right? Where you pay a little bit and your children are going to get a lot of tax-free death benefit later on that moves very quickly. It moves outside of probate, but some people don't like to use life insurance, so then it is a different discussion. And definitely money is moving intergenerationally, and it's moving. Women are often, we usually outlive the men. And so it's the women making the decisions, and then it's the grown daughters who are often doing the caregiving of the parents who are having to make some of those decisions for their parents as well. And you may or may not have been trained to look at money and to take care of it and to manage it, and let alone to take care of it for your parents, as well as for you, as well as maybe you're helping your children. So that sandwich can really get stressful for people.
So that brings us to another subject. While you're still capable of managing your own finances, what happens when suddenly you are no longer capable of managing your finances and you need long-term care?
Yeah, if you are not capable, you have to take care of this. It's just the grown-up thing to do. Definitely by the time you're 60, you should be aware, I think, that you're going to die someday. And to have that in place. When we're really young, we don't think we're ever going to die. So making sure you've got those pieces in place. So the will, if you're dead, the power of attorney if you're not able to act for yourself, and the health representative agreement, so that if you have really strong ideas about what interventions you do or do not want from the medical system, to have those in place. The power of attorney, if you don't have anyone you trust or want to be involved in your finances, you can hire someone to do that.
So planning.
Yes,
right?
planning.
Planning. So
Yeah.
start planning when you start making money. Save your money, plan for retirement, plan for long-term care, plan for looking after things when you are no longer capable, and that will take you through.
Yeah.
And so thank you very much, Nahanni, for being here with us today on Wise Folk. I hope that you enjoyed it.
I'm going to share a tiny little story with you because I know there's a lot of our viewers out there that probably have been through this same road and are really not sure where to go from here. When I was growing up, my family, my mother, was on welfare. And we learned the welfare mentality, unfortunately, the hard way. And by the grace of the Salvation Army, the fire department in New Westminster, the food bank, and other areas, our family was able to carry forward. And I've been able to do this incredible work as I walk forward in my own life and make my own decisions about money. But I know there's a lot of you out there that may not have the resources. The communities that we have on Vancouver Island are also here to support you. And had my mother known more about what was available to her way back when, things might have been a little bit different. So please reach out. Reach out to Nanaimo Family Life Association and let us help direct you to the information that maybe you might need in order to propel a different future for yourself. At the same time, there are resources available. Please donate in any community that you're in to your local food banks, to your Loaves and Fishes, to the Salvation Army, or to any of the areas, because not everyone is as fortunate as to be able to have saved during some difficult times. So thanks again for watching. Please be a wise folk. Share your story, share your joys, and share your information with the people around you. You're going to make a huge difference. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Wise Folks.
I walked with the world for many a mile. Life was fun for a little while. As I got older, how could I smile? How could I be happy for long? I met a wise folk the other day, told me to live in a happy way. Now I'm walking in the good old way, and I'm greeting life with a song. Something is missing in my heart today. I had to stop and rest a while. Not really sure what I need. How was I to find what's wrong? I met a wise folk the other day, told me to live in a happy way. Now I'm walking in the good old way, and I'm greeting life with a song. I'm greeting life with a song.